All right, we are back with another Ask Five. Today's guest in the podcast studio is Fred Nassab from First Team Real Estate, a large independent from Orange County, and we are looking forward to chatting with Fred today.
Yeah, so join us today on our WBNL podcast. Let's go. Let's do it right now.
This is the Wandering But Not Lost WBNL podcast, where real estate and reality meet. And now your hosts, Jan O'Brien and Matt Emerson. Well, welcome everyone to the WBNL Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 228, and you can find all of our show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Jan O'Brien, we are back with Ask Five, and today, like I had just mentioned, we have Fred Nassab in the podcast studio. Fred works with First Team Real Estate. First Team Real Estate is a huge independent real estate company here in Southern California. Been around for 45 years, I think, maybe 46 years here in 2023. They have over 2,000 agents, over 30 offices. The owner and founder of First Team Real Estate is Cameron Mirage, who he is always one step ahead of the game. The dude is always one step ahead of the game. I joined that company back in 1994. And as an agent, went and got my licensing through there. And it's just funny, Cam was always looking, back then, there wasn't all the tools and systems as far as technology goes as we have now, where you can just go online and find anything you want as far as lead management and everything. And Cam was always on the leading edge of trying to build new systems, new things that would be great for not only consumer, but also the management team, the trainers, and especially, obviously the agents. I mean, back when there was an up desk, Cam invented the super desk, where he had a team of agents that would be contacted via pager, because that's how long ago this was, to get the leads and to respond to the leads quickly. He created programs called Market Trends and Hot Buys and everything that was. The thing about it, it wasn't that it was all that new in the industry, but it was a new way to deliver that information to the consumer and to the agent, which is really fascinating and always on the leading edge. Created his own lead management team way before lead management was the thing, right? So this whole system where it was built in-house and agents being contacted within seconds and providing the best service for the client. So really always ahead of the game. And that's why First Team has really been the number one company in Orange County for all of these years, ever since he was Century 21 Walk-In Realty back in Huntington Beach way back in 1976. So anyway, long story short, just wanted to give you a little info on the company First Team, because if you're outside of Southern California, you might not have known or heard of who First Team is, but incredible company. I met Fred there. Fred was actually working up in the home office at that time. He was a senior vice president or senior VP of sales, I think was your title, Fred. Yeah. And Fred and I worked really closely together on a lot of different projects, including recruiting and just a ton of stuff with the management team. So anyway, that's enough of me talking, because this is supposed to be an interview with Fred. So Fred, welcome to the studio. And why don't you give us a little background on, you and what brought you to real estate, and where you are now and kind of your philosophy about real estate and life. So just give us a little overview.
Okay. Well, I've been in business a long time, 40 years. I think even over 40 years now, 1977. I was 12 years old when I got into the business.
Right.
But it's been my life pretty much. Sold successfully. I started working with buyers initially, and a lot of first-time buyers, and just was doing 3 to 5 transactions a month, doing first-time buyer sales. And after a while, I kind of got burnt out on first-time buyers, and I was looking around for a company that could help me get more listings, because listings are always the name of the game.
That's right.
And so I joined First Team at that time in 1986. I've been with them ever since. I started farming big time. Did very well at farming. I was willing to do whatever it took to get listings at that point, because I wanted listings. And so, and then I built a good listing business, good farm, had high market share, 60, 70, 80% market share on my farm. And then I decided to go into sales management. And I was convinced by Cam,
of course,
to go into sales management. And I managed for a while. And I started this Rossmore Seal Beach office here, which we're, on the border of the LA County, Orange County area market. So we work both sides of the counties. And so I started that back in 1997. started it from scratch. We have the number one office in the company now. We sold more homes last year than any other office in the company.
Wow.
We grow very quickly. It was a lot of hard work. And then I just take pride in helping my agents grow. And I've had agents, in the last few years that started brand new and did 2 million in GCI. My top 5 did over 1 million in GCI.
Wow.
So, and I just get a thrill on helping them grow. And that's my thing. So that's about it.
That's our cup of tea.
It's your thing, and you do it really, really well. Your agents love you.
What's that?
Your agents love you. That is your thing.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And I did do a stint with Cam, helping him run the company for 7 years. Went from this office, the Rossmore office, up to admin for 7 years. That's where me and Matt worked very closely together. And then I just, I would much rather be with the agents than be at an executive corporate level, So I came back and, in 2010 and been here ever since.
Awesome.
I've got a quick, how many agents are in your office right now, Fred?
About 130, 140.
Wow, that's great. Okay, cool. And so you've been in the business I'm 30 years in the business right now, and watching how we all say when we've been in the business this long, we know that real estate does cycles, and we've certainly gone through a crazy cycle when we were in a pandemic. I don't know the California market as much as I know the Nevada market. I'm licensed in Florida also, so I kind of watch the Florida market than the Nevada market. But what would you say, what is the biggest challenges your agents are having right now? Is it adjusting to the interest rates? Like, is that what most people are complaining about? Or how you helping your agents with what's shifted for 2023? Really, it started, middle of last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all started when rates started going up at a rapid level, right? And then I think it was like both agents and consumers, it's like deer in the headlights. What do I do? And it was a tough adjustment. It's still been a tough adjustment for agents. But the last, let's say 4 or 5 months of last year, especially the last quarter, was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of activity, and agents were, not working really because they didn't know, how to handle it. And but we did a lot of training, a lot of skill development right now.
There we go.
Fundamentals and skills are is the name of the game, and getting back to those fundamentals, and so we went through that, a lot of training. Our sales meetings were very well attended. During COVID, of course, we had a lot of Zoom. And then last year, I started going hybrids, where we'd have people on Zoom and then people in the office. So we're not just doing Zoom meetings. I love being with the agents. I'm kind of burnt out on Zoom, to be honest with you. But and it's hard to get them agents back. And
it is because they like the convenience of it, right?
Yeah. And those out there listening, my recommendation is suit up and show up in the office, and start making that as your place of business, because there's so much that can be derived in energy and people, sharing with each other. And I'm here. I have a sales manager that works for me, and he's here. So we're here just dedicated to helping agents grow.
Suit up and show up. I like that.
What's that?
Suit up and show up. I like that.
Yeah. Well, that's 80% of the battle.
Yep.
I think that's some awesome advice. I think that's what's happened with a lot of folks. It was always a challenge to get people to come into my sales meetings and stuff too, even though I know we would put on great content and great training because, and then we've developed a bad habit, right? We do Zoom. Are you still doing CE in your area where people can get their continuing education via Zoom? Or do they have to go live?
We're doing hybrids and then also Zooms too, because I have masterminds and, I do those Zooms. Our trainings are hybrids now pretty much. So, it's just a transition and evolution that we're having to deal with in the business. Mm-hmm. And the danger in this market is that, Zoom is a double-edged sword, because in this market, we have to develop skills, because the market that we had come out of during COVID, when everybody was thinking about doing something, and our agents were getting calls left and right. Open houses were packed, and buyer and seller decisions were market driven versus agent driven.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had to and we got used to that. And anyone that's been in the business really in the last probably 10 years have not had to deal with a market quite like this. And so a lot of skill development, and so that's what's going to happen. But the first of the year comes, and we're starting to see a lot more buyer activity. A lot of money out there still, a lot of cash buyers still, a lot of investors still. We got first-time buyers coming out. We've got people, I guess, in California that are moving out of state. So a lot of our listings are people that are moving out of state and then trust sales. But there's a lot of reasons why people want to sell, and we're seeing multiple offers now on our listings. Multiple offers. I was talking to an agent last night that had 80 people a day through her open houses.
Wow.
God.
And picked up a bunch of leads, but also had 12 offers that she was dealing with. And so this is what we're coming against now. And a lot of inventory. And so we're having to go after listings big time.
Okay.
I'm making a big push on listings.
That's it. List to last, right?
Listings, and I can share some of that, those strategies with you.
All right. Do you want to jump into our big Ask 5 questions there, Matt?
Yeah, let's do some Ask 5, Fred. And then, because a lot of this, as we talked earlier, a lot of the things we ask in the 5 leads to other things that you might be doing in your office. So actually, let's jump in there and do that. Hold on.
Well, one of the questions you have here, and then I'll get into some, more, strategies and tactics. But one of the things he says, what holds agents back? Is one of the questions here. And I was interviewing a brand new agent a few months ago, and I asked her, what do you think it takes to be successful in this business? And her answers were different than any other answers I've gotten, because people say, well, I got to network, and I got to do open houses, and I got to farm, and I got to talk to people, and blah, 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 blah. Well, her answer was courage and discipline. So when you ask what holds people back, first thing is fear.
Right.
Because, if they don't have self-confidence or just confidence in the business, and we can't help, and our job is to help new agents build their confidence, then that's what's going to hold them back. Not that they don't want to succeed, but they're paralyzed by fear. Mm-hmm. So our job, I think, and agents is walking through that fear. And the only way to walk through it is just to do it. And, and so courage is number one. And then the other thing is discipline.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
And I go, here's a brand new agent telling me exactly what it takes to be successful.
I hope you hired that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's a superstar in the making.
I'm helping her walk through all of that now. So,
all right.
But I thought it was very insightful of her to tell me that. And I've shared that with a lot of agents. So, and then you got to have the desire, man. It all starts with desire, because if you don't have the desire, if you don't have a compelling reason to get up and succeed, more than the money, it has to do with what the money's going to do for you, what this lifestyle is going to do for you. And there's so much opportunity to live a life that otherwise you wouldn't been able to live, so you got to have goals. You got to have a vision for your business. You got to have a vision for your life and what you want and how important that is to you. So those are just some of the things about what holds people back.
That's great advice right there. I am on board with that, Fred.
Right. And that's
the same language.
And we preach that quite often too, because it is about discipline, right? It's about getting out there and doing it. But that we call it the doing the daily. the things you have to do every single day to succeed in this business. And if you do that, you'll be fine, right? But you get off on your tangents and you won't do that. Let's talk a little bit about lead generation and stuff for agents. And, what do you think right now is the best thing that an agent can do to help
Obviously,
build
open
their
houses.
database?
Open house, to me, open houses are key.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get listings on open houses,
Mhm.
and you can leverage those open houses, invite people to the open houses. Your whole database should be invited to your open houses on a weekly basis. Invite the neighbors, invite people that may be in a lower tract that may consider moving up, like people in condos that may want to move into a single family. Invite those people to your open houses. And the more you can get out there, the more you can push them, the better they're going to be. But you got also have to develop the skills for the open houses and talk to your managers and your trainers and you guys to develop the skills on how to approach these people and what they're looking for. And fundamentally, on open houses, you got to know the market. You got to have product knowledge. And most agents just go and they just do it willy-nilly. You got to prepare. Preparation's 80% of the battle. So you got to go and look at properties. You got to go call listing agents and find out, tell me about the seller, where they're moving, when do they need to be there. You got to go into these houses and see what they have. I mean, the pictures don't say it all. That's for sure.
That is for sure.
Right.
And if you can talk in that language, and you can talk to, there's a house down the street, the seller really needs to move. The agent told me they need to be in Arizona by summer, and I think there's a lot of flexibility in the price. Do you want to take a look at it? It would be a great deal for you, whatever. And buyers are looking for opportunities, right?
That's true. Right now.
So that's that. But everything needs to be structured and systemized in your business, and it needs to create routines or habits, and time blocking some of the most important things. So, you talked about here, what is the best idea you have for SOI and past clients? There's not really a silver bullet. There's things that I can share with you that are working, but there's no silver bullet. Right. But the first thing you got to do is you have to have the systems in place. And, through marketing and lead gen and all of that. And they need to be, you got to have the right strategies. You got to have you have to be consistent with it. It has to be repetitive. It has to be relevant to whoever you're marketing to. So some of the things is you got to have a digital component, right? You got to have a mailing component, because you want to hit them all angles. You've got to have a phone. You got to touch them in some way or another personally. And I can give you some strategies on that. And they have to be relevant. And what's relevant to sellers right now or to your past clients, because you can pick up a lot of listings from past clients. And what's relevant is what's going on in the market. They want to know what's going on in the market. So CMAs may be a good thing to do. Call them up, see if they'd like to have an updated CMA and an equity position on their home, so they at least are keeping informed under the market. We have a lot of tools and resources that we can subscribe our clients to, like Market Trends, and I'm sure there's a lot of other tools out there that you can subscribe your clients to, that they can get a sense for what's going on in the market, But that's one thing. And another thing, another strategy that we've deployed that's been working is if you have a program that gives them market evaluation price report, an instant value report, EM, whatever that stands for. And so then, you drive them to that through links, or QR codes are working really good. We've done a lot of contests, like a Valentine's Day contest, and we've gotten huge responses by having them sign up on the QR code. And it was probably this last Valentine's Day, we had more people subscribe to the contest than ever. And, the agent, we pay for the contest. It was a gift card for $150 to the fish company over here. It's a nice restaurant. And but agents also did their own. And then you gotta leverage that opportunity too by taking photos and promotion and those kind of things, and showing who won, and a lot of different things. I mean, we had agents that delivered flowers to those that signed up but didn't win, and they had one for
great idea.
Yeah,
and then they delivered flowers where they're picking up a listing off of it, and it was in their farm, but it's a seller that wants to sell a property outside the farm, and so they're picking up a listing from doing that. But you just got to be out there. You just got to be out there. There's no substitute to face-to-face contact, none. And we're seeing great results on that. It's hard. Most agents won't do it. If you can get yourself to do it, it's going to make a world of difference in your business and in your attitude too, because it's not as bad as you may think it is. And so, and some people go, "Oh God, I did it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be." Yeah. And people typically are generous and help. So if you have a problem with doing it, just give them something instead of asking for something.
There you go. Yeah. I think you just wrapped up really what the key to success is no matter what the market is, that you got to, I'm going to go back to get up, suit up, get yourself out of your home office. And here's what I heard you say that I really want to just, because this is something we say all the time. I must say every time we do one of these podcasts, you got to find the thing that what's your drive, what you're passionate about. But I also find, Fred, I wonder if you agree, people can have drive and can have discipline. Discipline is key, but they also have to find the thing that they're good at, that they'll get up every day and go do. Because lead generation can come from all kinds of things, from networking, open houses, social media, expired listings, what you name it. And I can get an agent in front of me, and if they're good at it and they like it, then we can give them some strategies. But they got to get up every day and do it. Would you agree? I mean, that's the key to success.
100%. I mean, it's
following up with the leads.
Yeah, it's got to be something that it's palatable. It's something that you're willing to do. It's something that's not going to cause you paralysis, you know what I mean? And not do it. If door knocking is not your thing, then do open houses. If you're scared to death and you just can't bring yourself to go to the door, then do open houses. But I have to tell you, I've also seen a lot of agents walk through those fears. But to build your confidence, you got to start with something that you can experience success with.
There you go. And then when you're new, you have to try it all to figure out what you're good at, right? I mean, you guys hire a lot of newer agents, so you're probably helping them go through your training program, discover all the ways you can do business, and then by then, you're gonna help, and also you're gonna help them figure out if they're really suited to do real estate. Do you agree? Not everybody is.
Not everybody
suited.
Is, and you pretty much know after a month or two. Yeah. And we look at things, if people are executing or at least doing the work, we know they're going to succeed eventually.
Yeah.
If they're not doing the work, whether they don't have the desire to do the work, or they thought it was, harder than they thought, and there's no real drive there, or they don't have the discipline or their fear, we can't help them overcome those fears. It's not the business for everybody, and it's a tough business. And everyone that comes in seems to underestimate it.
That's true.
So,
you're right. The person, I used to hire a lot of new agents in my day, and it would be the expectation is I just show up and, magically deals fall into my lap and I make $100,000. And then the reality sets in, you're going to work harder than you probably ever have in any other job you've had, but you can get there if you get up every day, follow discipline, learn what you need to do, and get to a place where you build business by referral. I mean, most agents, do you find that once they're in a few years are going to tell us, most of my business comes from people I know, past clients, sphere of influence?
And that's the key, is to build your client base, right? It's a profession. And, now they need us more than ever, because every transaction is a lot more sophisticated. There's a lot more liability. So it's a profession, just like anything else. And so, they once you build that client base, after a few years or build your farm, you can't find a job based on your return on time and money than you can in real estate.
I agree.
That's true.
You're going to make more money in less time once you establish yourself. But in the beginning, you got to prime the pump. You got
to grind it out.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Matt, is there any final thoughts or questions?
Well, I just had a question, we always ask Fred, as far as inspiration for yourself and keeping yourself up to date and what do you do? Because I know that you've always had kind of the same philosophy that Jan and I talk about here at WBNO Coaching, that, working is great and building a business is a goal, right? But your personal life, your family life, the things that you do outside of work are just as important, really, as far as having a happy and successful life in general. So, what inspires you, or who inspires you? Do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? I mean, what gives you your drive?
I've read a lot of books, over the years, a lot of books. I think what inspires me more than anything is the contribution that I can make to the individual.
Yeah.
And, I'm a spiritual guy, so that's my main inspiration, and that's what keeps me grounded and moving forward. But it's not about me, it's about them, and it's about what I can contribute to them. And then to watch them, have defining moments in their business where they just grow and it's an aha, or they, I've had people, they start brand new and they end up buying a brand new car, or they end up buying a house, and then they have a family, and then they grow and they build wealth. And that's what turns me on, honestly. And, and so with my personal life, I try to keep a balance. I travel a lot, and I've been able to do that a lot. I travel internationally a lot. So that's a drive, that's passion. I have a boat now, so I like to go out on my boat when it's better weather.
Right.
Yeah, not today.
Not the white squall, right?
This has been quite an interesting winter. And then my family, my children, my grandchildren, there's no more greater joy for me than to be with my grandchildren. We play hide and seek, so what else is better than that?
Hey, I follow you on social media, Fred. So every once in a while, when you post pictures of you and the family, and the smile on your face tells the whole story right there. You can tell that drives you absolutely. And you know what? Getting back to your agents, I said this towards the beginning of the show. Your agents really do love you. And I think back on the competitive nature of any real estate company, and the competition between the offices and all of that. I mean, when it's awards time and the Rossmore office is, who's going to be number one? I mean, my God, the support you have from the team that you have built is unbelievable. I mean, it is one of your absolute strengths, and clearly what drives you. You just mentioned that, so that's pretty great. Jan, any other final questions for Fred?
No, I love your philosophy, Fred. We're of the same vein there, because there's nothing really new when it comes to the way you succeed in real estate, other than adjusting to market conditions or maybe learning some new whatever, right? The way people want to communicate, social media or whatever. But great advice all around. It's get back to the basics, right? Stay with the basics. Don't get away from them. They work.
Yeah, you got to, it's the fundamentals right now. Honestly, more than anything, it's just getting back to the fundamentals. Find what works for you, time block it in your schedule.
Yes,
don't let anything interfere with it. Don't let an appraisal interfere with it. Don't let a physical inspection interfere with it. Just make sure that that's sacred. And, we all have those things that are just going to drive income. And, follow up is probably the biggest hole in any agent's business. So time block your follow up, or just do it throughout the day, but you got to find a way to keep yourself, I guess, disciplined to do that,
Beautiful.
Wise and sage words. If you want more information on First Team Real Estate, go over to our show notes at WBNLpodcast.com. This was episode 228. If you are in the North Orange County, West Orange County, Los Angeles area, the Rossmore area, Yeah, exactly. And you were interested in getting more information about Fred's office and would like to join Fred's office at First Team, which I would highly recommend. We're going to have all that information over on the show notes as well. So that is it for today. Thank you once again, Fred, for coming and talking with us today.
Wonderful.
Everyone, make sure you get up, get out, live the life you've dreamed, and be forever wandering, but not lost.
All right. Thanks.